The town of Dalba was rather ironically named, the locals thought. You see, Dalba is a Wiradjuri word, a beautiful word meaning rain. The weather broke, the clouds burst. But Dalba had been living under drought conditions for years and years. In fact, Tilly, a young girl of the town, she couldn't remember a time before water restrictions meant that she was not allowed to have a patch of the garden to call her own. She'd long had a dream that she might one day grow seeds into something wonderful all by herself. Well, the water restrictions meant she'd never been allowed to, but she'd been working very hard on her mother. They had an old shed. It was big enough to park the car in, and then some, but it had been built in older, dodgier times with a roof that just let the rain, if it ever came, fall onto the ground. She managed to convince her mum that if she could build a rain catcher, she should be allowed to have a patch of dirt to grow seeds in. She made a model, you see, with all of the bits and pieces, and she went scavenging and hunting throughout the community for weeks, no, for months, finding old gutters, leaf guards that people were getting rid of because they weren't fancy and didn't match their new roofs. She found absolutely everything from somewhere or other, and she installed almost all of it. The only thing, and she saved up her own pocket money for this, the only thing she bought new was the rainhead. This part here was filled with layers of ever increasingly fine mesh, and it meant that you could filter out any bits that were missed by the leaf guard, tiny bits of leaves and dirt, and even mosquitoes. She hated mosquitoes, and she certainly didn't want them laying eggs in her rainwater tank. Well, permission granted, work mostly done. The only thing left was to wait for the arrival of the rainhead, and today was the day. On her way home from school, she dashed into the post office and picked up the parcel. She raced home, she opened it up, and it was perfect. The dimensions were exactly as she had researched, and she knew exactly what to do. The only thing she had to do was wait until her mum got home from work. Her mum did say she should wait, but then her mum also often said that it's better to do something than to do nothing. And so Tilly thought that that was the piece of advice that she should follow today. She put her tool belt on that she'd cobbled together all by herself. She got the old ladder that someone was throwing away and she reclaimed off the street, and she put it up against the shed wall. She climbed up that creaky old ladder, put the rainhead on the roof. She was just thinking, should I take a before photo? When she felt the ladder tremble and quiver beneath her. She grabbed hold of the roof just in case, and it was just as well, because the ladder then quivered and groaned and cracked and split. And Tilly was left dangling from the roof. She got an elbow up and she managed to swing her leg up and clamber safely onto the roof. Now she had no ladder. Now she was stuck. Now all she had to do was wait until her mum got home for sure. Well, she did have her tools in a tool belt. She did have the rainhead here. Or maybe, her mum always says, better to do something than to do nothing. Maybe she should install it upside down. And so she did, and I do not recommend that you do this at home, certainly not. But Tilly was determined, and she hung off the side of the roof, and she fit the rainhead into its place perfectly, using the tools she had with her. She stood up on top of the roof, proud as punch, and so stuck. Now what to do about the getting down part? Well, she saw William, a kid from school, up on the street. Hey, William! Tilly! What are you doing up there? I've been installing my rain catcher, she said. You what? My rain catcher. And she explained about how the rain was going to fall down on the roof and then gather in the gutters, and any big sticks or leaves would get kept out by the gutter guards, and how it was all going to... Hang on, Tilly. What rain? What? Well, what rain? What rain's going to fall on the roof? We're in Dulba. It never rains in Dulba. Well, it might. The news said there was going to be a storm this afternoon. Yeah, it's just going to be one of the usual dry storms, you know, a few cracks of lightning, some wind, some dust, and then it's going to clear off. Doesn't rain in Dulba. That's a stupid idea, Tilly. Your idea is a stupid idea. Silly Tilly. It is not a stupid idea. My mum always says you've got to hold on to your hope, and that is what I'm doing. I'm holding on to my hope. The only thing is my ladder. What's going on out here? Said Mrs. Patterson from outdoor. She'd heard the commotion and came outside to check on her washing. And then she saw Tilly on the roof. Tilly, what on earth are you doing up there? Mrs. Patterson, I've been installing my rain catcher. You what? My rain catcher. And she explained about how the water was going to come down the pipes and get filtered out by the rain head here and then travel along the cross pipe and down into the... It all sounds very, very complicated if you ask me. If you're wanting to save the world, Matilda, then why don't you have a nice cake sale? You know, set out a table, get some lovely cupcakes. People love cupcakes. You can raise some money and send it off. Why don't you do that instead? It's much simpler. Oh, Mrs. Patterson, my mum always says you've got to put your hands where your heart is. And this is what I like doing. I like putting stuff together, and I've always wanted to grow a garden of my own. And that's what I love. That's what I want to do. I mean, your cupcakes are great, Mrs. Patterson, but I want to put my hands where my heart is. Oh, I don't know about that. It sounds very complicated if you ask me. But Mrs. Patterson, my ladder. What's going on out here? Oh, hello, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Patterson came out for a sticky beak. He just wanted to know what was happening. Oh, Tilly, what are you doing up there? I've been installing my rain catcher, Mr. Patterson, and she explained again about the roof, the gutters, the pipes, the rainwater tank. Oh, is that a rainwater tank, really? That looks to me like a cold drinks dispenser like the ladies use out in the Oval on Saturday at Little Athletics. Isn't that a drinks dispenser? What? No, that's no good. You need something new and fancy. Oh, I've got a new and fancy rain head, but the rest of the stuff, it's recycled and reused, and I'm quite proud of it, actually, Mr. Patterson. I'm glad I could reuse and recycle all of that stuff. And my mum always says you've got to do the best you can with what you've got, and that's what I've done. Oh, no, Tilly. No, you've got to use the best possible equipment. Now, I've seen that you can get very fancy tanks for rain harvesting systems. Yes, you can get a nice streamlined one that'll go right flash up against your shed wall. Mr. Patterson, if I waited until I could afford all of that, I would be waiting until I'm a grown-up, and then I would never have had a garden of my own. I'm happy with what I've got. I've got one fancy bed and everything else will do just fine, ready for the storm. But my ladder, Mr. Patterson, my ladder... And at this point, Tilly's mum comes home. Matilda Mary Smith, what are you doing up there? I told you to wait until I got home. Yeah, but you also said it's better to do something than to do nothing. It's better to do something safely, Tilly, and that was not at all safe. Where's your ladder? My ladder, it broke, Mum. I tried. I was just trying to finish my rain catcher, and a storm could be coming any time, and I wanted to get it all ready, and I did my best, and then the ladder broke, and everyone doesn't... Oh, Mum, I tried. Tilly's mum looked around at all of these faces looking up at Tilly. "My daughter's ladder has broken. She's stuck on the roof, and there's a storm coming right now." And as she said that, they all looked over and saw not a soft grey rainstorm approaching, no, but a great tumultuous wall of orange-brown dust. A dust storm had been coming that whole time, and now was nearly upon them. "You people have left my daughter stuck on a roof with a dust storm on its way. Surely someone has a ladder. Mr. Patterson, could we have a ladder that we can borrow to get Tilly off the shed roof?" Oh, yes, well, I've got a ladder up in my shed. I have to get the washing off the line. Otherwise it'll be orange for weeks. All right, Mrs. Patterson, you can get the washing off the line. Tilly, you hold on. Hold on, Tilly. We'll come and get you. Grab hold of the roof. Right, you lot, come and get the ladder. So Mrs. Smith, she got everybody over to Mr. Patterson's house. They got the ladder, they brought it over, and they put it up against the side of the shed. Hold on, Tilly, hold on! The storm was upon them now. That orange-brown dust was flying up their noses, coating their nostrils, into their ears, caked on their eyebrows and eyelashes. Hold on, Tilly. Mrs. Patterson, have you got a towel or something in your washing? We need something to cover our faces. And as she spoke, the dust swirled into her mouth and she could feel the grit of it on her teeth. Please, Mrs. Patterson. Oh, I was doing my delicates. The only thing I've got in the washing is my underpants. Well, you've got to do the best you can with what you've got. And so they all took some pairs of Mrs. Patterson's comfortable brown granny underpants and they put them on their heads, covering their faces as best they could, and squinting. Mrs. Smith, Tilly's mum, climbed rung by rung by rung to the top of the ladder. She grabbed hold of Tilly's leg and she placed it on the top rung. "That's the place, Tilly. Now come on, you can do this." And together, with Mr. Patterson and William holding the ladder from below, with Mrs. Patterson's underpants on their heads, they climbed down and down, rung by rung, until their feet were on solid ground. And as soon as they were there on the earth, they heard a sound. Plank, plonk, plink, splutter, splat, thwack, ting. Was that rain? It was not quite rain. No. Mud was falling in fat drops from the sky, hitting the roof, oozing down into the gutters. "Oh no, you see, Tilly, I told you your system was too complicated. It's going to be ruined now." "No, it won't," said Tilly. "No, it won't. You see, I've got a first flush diverter. Here." She took the cap off, and they listened to the oozing mud, slime, and anything that got past the fancy new rainhead just dropped straight onto the ground. But soon the plonk, thwang, twack became pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter. The rain became clearer and clearer, until beautiful drops of fresh, clear rain were falling hard and fast on the roof. Tilly put the cap back on the diverter, and they listened as the water level rose and rose in the pipe. They listened as it trickled across. They listened as it dribbled into their makeshift rainwater tank. And the water rose, and the water rose, and the water rose, until he knew that when she needed to, she was going to be able to turn on that tap and get water to grow her seeds. Oh, well, they all took the underpants off their faces and wiped their muddy selves and gave them back to Mrs. Patterson with great thanks at her loss of dignity and her sharing of help. And there, in the clean, heavy rain, they took a deep breath in as one, a great inspiration, and they smelt that most beautiful scent, petrichor. Ah, beautiful word, invented by Australian scientists to describe the smell of rain falling on parched, dry earth. Because there, in Dalba, rain came. The weather broke, the clouds burst, and Tilly knew that she was going to be able to plant seeds and grow something wonderful. Her neighbours and her friends knew that she was going to grow into something wonderful, and I'm sure live happily ever after.